welcome back to Build. I'm your host, Brittany Jones-Cooper, and today I'm sitting down with Anna Kendrick and Danielle Brooks. They're here to talk about their new movie, The Day Shall Come, about a local preacher in Miami who's offered a big payout which will save his family from eviction. But what he doesn't know is that the FBI has provided the money as part of a larger plan to turn him into a criminal. Take a look.
Prepare ye, for the day that approaches is the day of the great revolution. Are you ready to rule?
We are ready to rule.
May you live to see the accidental dominance of the white race overthrown.
Cool.
You're gonna pitch me the next 9/11.
What about this guy, Moses Shabazz?
Classic lone wolf.
There's 4 of them, actually.
Duck walk.
Pack of lone wolves. Had to happen.
My mission is to change the lives of poor people without the gun weapon.
Let's offer this Moses Shabazz some funds.
He could set up a meeting with a rich ISIL sheikh.
Perhaps your army needs weapons?
No, we don't believe in guns. If necessary, we'll call on the dinosaurs. But at the sound of a trumpet, they will come to our aid.
I think he's delusional.
Yeah, schizophrenia plays.
You being played, Mo.
What if I'm playing them? Whoever it is playing me. Could you pay someone to inform upon themselves?
You want to inform on yourself?
Would you be interested?
He's got the threat signature of a hot dog.
Peace, brothers!
Jihad has no off switch. Next thing you know, the Statue of Liberty's wearing a burqa, and we've beheaded Bruce Springsteen.
Just get him back out there to blow up a skyscraper, or I'll drop the case.
Okay, so we have to get him a fake nuke.
I'll take a better idea if you got one. How about not selling nukes to Nazis? Uranium. To put hair on your chest and make it fall off.
I am just a guy talking to another guy, trying to send a third guy to jail. I'm calling in a full arm response.
Shit, a pineapple. He's unarmed!
Unarmed black man, unarmed white man. Which one's more likely to have the gun?
I'm gonna be sick. It's just the horn they used to summon the dinosaurs.
You think this gonna work out?
No.
Put your hands together for Anna Kendrick and Danielle Brooks.
Hi.
How you guys doing today?
Good. I like that trailer. Is that weird to say?
I like it
I like
too.
it a lot.
No, I feel like you should like the trailer.
Well, because I also I love the cast so much. Like I love everybody in the movie so much that you're like, oh, I love it. Like there's no like that guy. He was weird.
There is a beauty in like a really good trailer too. I just actually watched the movie this morning, and looking at that trailer, I'm like, oh, this perfectly sums it up. How funny it is, how quick it is, how light it is, and then how it takes a pretty serious turn as well.
Yeah, it's like heavy subject matter, but really funny. Yeah.
Such a delicate.
And you've seen the movie, so you know like how crazy things get, and it becomes this total comedy of errors where like everybody has mistaken this person for that person, and like so on and so on. So there was a point where I was like, how are they going to cut a trailer for this? But this is, yeah, it doesn't like tell you what happens, but it gives you that sense of like everything goes wrong.
We just sort of described in detail why it is such a fascinating script and movie. For you guys, you're both so busy. I see you all over the place working on different projects. What was it about this script that made you want to be a part of it?
For me, it was Chris Morris. He had just won the BAFTA. He seemed like an interesting guy. When you meet him, he's like tall as hell and just interesting curly hair. It's just something about his mind, his demeanor that was like, I want to work with this dude. And he seemed like a collaborator. And that's important for me, is not feeling like I'm just being told what to do as a puppet, being an actor, but somebody that really wants to bring this to life and create this character together worked for me. So I was like, I'm going to do this with this dude. I don't know what I'm doing, but you want to take me to the DR? Sounds like a good story. I like the director. Let's do it.
Yeah, because the script was kind of impenetrable. Like, I think we all finally admitted to each other, because no one wants to look like the dummy. But like by the end of toward the end of the rehearsal period, we were all like, did you have to read this script like 4 times to follow what was going on? And it makes sense when it's on screen because you can see the different characters. But when you're just like following, like, wait, which guy is this guy?
But you had to have a few rehearsals.
Like the second time that I read the script, I had to make notes of like, this character's name is this, because it's like a Russian novel.
I felt the same way.
But funny.
Well, there's so much like bargaining and things happening. There's a lot of exchanges that happen that you have to, as a viewer, I like that you have to be paying attention.
Well, there are moments in the movie where like somebody mentions like, oh, well, there was this incident over there where da-da-da. And I was like, is it going to be clear to the audience that they're talking about this thing? And when I saw it at South by Southwest, like, stuff like that would happen, and the audience would go like, oh, and I was like, oh, okay, sweet. Like everybody knows what's going on because I'm the dummy who didn't know what was going on.
I felt the same way Anna felt. I was like, what is happening here? But yeah, she's right. When the audience watches it, they follow it. I think you have to remember that the audience is always smarter than we think they are with our own material. So they were with us.
And it is such a smart movie. You mentioned Chris, and he's known for being provocative and sort of pushing the envelope where a lot of people are fearful. And in this, he definitely does that. We're talking about domestic terrorism, but he's also like taking a hard look at the FBI and some of the work they do and how some of their work may not be as honest as they're portraying it,
Yeah.
which is, he's British, but he's having commentary on American politics.
Yeah, I mean, like for any Americans that don't know him, he's just like, he's a British comedy legend. And he does like talk about really serious issues in a really funny way, not because he takes them lightly at all, like because he is fully horrified by them. And he kept hearing these stories about the way that law enforcement and the FBI in particular would use entrapment and set up these elaborate stings that, if anything, they were proving that the targets were harmless, but they would just go at it a different way until they got just enough to kind of hang their hat on and, put people away for life. And he was so like horrified by it that, I mean, I don't know the exact like timeline of his script, but I know that he was thinking about it for like 5 years or something. And then he is such a weird savant genius that I think he might have written it down in an afternoon. But this was something that was like he was really passionate about. But his whole thing is taking like really dark topics and making them very inappropriately funny. Yeah.
I liked his delicacy when it came to this story because, yes, it's a satire. Yes, it's supposed to be funny, but he knows how many people really, truly go through this experience. And we actually went to Florida to meet some people that might have been related to some people that have gone through being set up by the FBI, being in the neighborhoods. And so that was nice to know that someone who is not from this country was making sure to not just make a mockery of, this place.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we all need to be a little more critical with how we view the news cycle and everything that's going on. And I do kind of like that it sheds a light on this is like many true stories. This is happening kind of throughout a lot of different communities where sometimes the arms supplied came from the U.S. government, and that's a thing we do know, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, and I think it's a brilliant tag at the beginning of the movie, based on hundreds of true stories, because while it isn't based on details of one particular story, like the kind of plot of the movie is so absurd that you would easily be forgiven for thinking that this was just the like insane invention of somebody trying to make it funny. And the details of so many of these like real stories are completely absurd. Like it's a mess, but it's kind of absurd.
And your character is a big part of that. You play Kendra, who is this very ambitious FBI agent who ends up getting it, I think, a little too deep.
Yeah, and the thing that I talked to Chris about the most was that we wanted to make sure that it didn't seem like we were saying, well, of the bad guys, she's one of the good guys. It's like, no, we're definitely not saying that like you should be on her side at any point during the movie, and that she's really just doing enough so that she can sleep at night. But everything she does is for personal gain or to get herself out of trouble. Like really most of the things that she does to try to correct her like morally dubious decisions are to save her own ass. So that was like something I wanted to be really careful about. And like toward the end of filming, he was like, don't worry, you come off like such an asshole. And I was like, great.
You do.
Thank you.
Yeah, you really do.
Thank you.
I was like, I did not like her very much.
Thank you.
So congrats. You nailed it. Your dialogue is really fun, though, and I know Jesse Armstrong is one of the writers, and he comes from the Succession world, and they've worked in the like Veep world as well. I mean, if you are familiar with Veep, that like harsh dialogue that is like profanity and just so hilarious and offensive. How fun is it for you to, as a performer, to dig into like scripts like that?
It was really fun. The people playing the FBI agents are all like theater background or stand-up background. So we had a lot of fun, and like thank God there was a lot of like love and respect because some of the stuff it like cuts deep. Like a lot, they make a lot of jabs about my height and stuff. So I'm like, I'm glad I like you all because this is mean. I'm gonna go home with my feelings hurt.
Did you have a favorite like explicit thing you had to say?
I can't remember. Okay, I can't remember. Like, I say something about like like you probably mount the toilet the wrong way. Like you're so stupid, you probably mount the toilet the wrong way. And then I say something about somebody's, I don't know, I can't remember what's in the movie. I don't know, like balls being prolapsed or something. I don't know, it's great. It's really fun.
Something about his penis being inverted.
Yeah, inverted like a belly button. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. It's a funny movie.
I remember it. Super funny. And you carry, I think, the heart of the film in a lot of ways. You play Venus, V, who is the spouse to Moses, and she's in a real complicated place, right?
Yeah, first of all, Marchant Davis is the shit. I love him so much. He's actually on Broadway right now, which is pretty awesome. His first Broadway show. Wonderful partner to work with. Would do it again. But yes, I play his wife, and she really is the moral compass. She's the one, she's ride or die for her man, but at the same time, she's like, this is not working. This don't make no sense. Please stop. And he does not listen. And it forces her to make decisions that she doesn't want to have to make. But yeah, that's how I would describe her.
It's hard not to spoil it. So let's just talk about Black Santa. What were the conversations around the presence of Black Santa in this script? Because I personally really love that.
It makes sense to me. Being
it's
Black.
the only Santa I've ever known.
That's exactly right. So in our movie, I am actually painting a Santa black. But it makes sense, and I actually think it came from Marchant's idea because that's what his family used to do. And so Chris was like, yeah, I love it. Let's put it in. So that's how that came about. But yeah, I think it's just representation matters, even with Santa Claus.
It just shows the humor and how it is just like injected in every part of the film, really. Even like the most minor detail is like if you're paying attention, she's painting a Black Santa.
It was so much fun for me to finally see the movie and see the scenes that like I wasn't in, and how much like joy there is in the relationship between, because on paper it's like, oh, the wife who knows better, you know, and like you guys just brought like so much joy to it. Like heart is kind of one of those words that I feel like is used a lot, especially like, you know, for you, because people are just like, yeah, she'll do that thing. She's like just like chock-a-block full of talent, so she'll just make every scene better, and we'll call it heart. But like just like the joy that you guys had together, it's beautiful.
We actually didn't have any scenes.
We had like one,
bit. But to get to see the work that they have been doing too, it's like, oh my God, this is gonna be good. Like, cause you don't know what's going on the other end. Yeah. Even when we came in for rehearsals, it was just very this group, that group, and then that was it, you know? So it was really nice to see their work. But at the same time, because we were out of town, we were able to still bond through this process too.
Just like as a fan of both of you, did you guys ever just like go in a room together and sing? I mean, is that something you guys do?
You know what's funny is I kept pestering her with questions about, like, I was like, do you all just sing on Orange is the New Black? Yeah. And like, she was heading back to Orange is the New Black after we finished filming, and I was like, I'm just gonna, and I was heading off to film A Simple Favor, and I was like, can me and Blake just text you and just be like, will you send us a video of like you guys singing? And then I was too embarrassed to actually do it.
Oh, she could have did it, but we were in the trailer and, you know, getting hair and makeup, and I would just kind of be like, just sharing songs together, or, you know, just picking each other's brains about music. And I think you sent me some Beyonce video or something. It was some music that I didn't know about yet, and you was like, girl, you need to hear this.
I didn't do the voice. I didn't do that.
No, she didn't do that part. She didn't do the snap
I would like to make
either.
it very clear.
That's my interpretation of Anna coming to me.
I need a second. In my mind, you guys were just like singing together. You both are such theater lovers, as am I. Last time you were here, you were doing Much Ado, and you were expecting, but we didn't know yet. So I want to say congrats.
I tried to cover it up, but
so happy for everything that's going on with you. How you feeling?
Pregnant.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it.
More than a little bit pregnant. I see you have that new
girl,
Netflix.
You
know I do my research.
Yes, I have a TV or a YouTube series coming out with Netflix Family called A Little Bit Pregnant, even though I'm a lot of bit pregnant. And it's 4 episodes just going and talking to doulas and midwives and doctors, trying to figure out what this whole thing is and getting all the advice that I need before, my little bundle comes.
I saw the trailer, and it looked like your baby shower was
lit, honey.
right?
It was
Like,
off the chain.
I'm not typically a big fan of baby showers, but yours looked like a fashion week party. So I was like, yeah, I'll go.
Basically was.
And I saw you walking into the party with a gentleman, so will we learn a little bit more about that gentleman?
You will get to see him more. He's still going to be a mystery man, but you'll get to know him a little bit more.
Yeah, was that important for you just to keep that part of your life private?
Oh, yeah. I think for both of us, I think when we introduce partners and people in our, to the world, they get to comment on it. We give them permission to comment, and I don't really care for all that. So I think it's just our way of keeping what we have precious and, pure without being tainted by what the world wants it to be. So
I respect that. Speaking of loves, I know that you were working on Love Life.
Yeah.
And you're executive producing that as well. And I see that you're EPing a couple different things.
Yeah.
So what does that mean for you at this point in your career where you're getting to really kind of drive the bus a little more?
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible, just knowing that people kind of have to listen to me. Like, I know, that's an oversimplification, but it's also, it's true because there are movie sets like this one where I'm allowed to go, Chris, this doesn't make any sense. And he actually listens to me and respects that. And then there are sets where it's more like, honey, grown-ups are talking. No. To just have that seat at the table and be involved in the creative process from as early as possible has been really amazing.
And why was Love Life something that you wanted to EP and then also star in?
Love Life is this anthology series where the first season is me and every episode is one relationship, whether that relationship is 6 years or a one-night stand. Each episode is a half an hour. And I think it's just a really interesting prism through which to see somebody's life and the way that they grow because of the way that different relationships teach us about ourselves and who we get to be in different relationships. A one-night stand is you can be whoever you want. I'm just excited to be exploring that, and the cast we have is so amazing, and I get to film in New York. So it's I'm a big kid making
Can't wait to watch this.
New York shit.
It looks really good. You guys were just filming over the public theater once. I saw a photo of you, I thought.
Oh, probably.
You I don't remember. I saw some article and it was
oh my God, why are you so obsessed with me?
I can't help it. I really want to sing with you guys. I can't sing, I'll just listen.
I bet you could sing.
Oh, no, I would tell you if I could. I really would be doing it all the time. I just appreciate people who can actually sing, so I don't actually sing. For both of you, though, what kind of projects are you looking forward to doing the most? Because, again, I feel like each of your resumes, IMDb's are so diversified. So is there a certain role or a genre?
I want to work with Danielle again, which is a goofy thing to say, but also a true thing. Because you made a joke toward the end of filming when we actually filmed the big sequence that we're actually in together. And you were like, let me know, I'm gonna come and play a part in your next movie. And I was like, I want that so much. Cause I remember even the first day of rehearsal being so intimidated by you. I was like, oh my God, she's so well trained. She's so amazing. She has all this access. It's incredible. And
I felt the same way about her. I think she's a powerhouse. Seriously, with the producing and everything that she's been able to accomplish, the way her mind works is way ahead of everybody else's, and I just really appreciated watching a woman, being that we were basically the only women in this movie, another woman being able to hold
yelling
her
at the
own
director. Lovingly.
The movie's so great, too, because it's saying something, and I feel like you guys are both in these roles that are important roles in the film. But the film says so much, whether it's from what's going on with our security. Also, there's a whole conversation about mental illness.
Yes.
That doesn't beat you over the head. It's this very subtle, beautiful, nuanced mention of it. Mm-hmm. What were the conversations around that, actually? I'm interested because, you know what I mean? It would be easy to be he's crazy or whatever, but they never do that in the film.
I think that's exactly what Chris, especially Marshawn, which you'll talk to later, about that. I think they were trying to make sure that it wasn't just oh, well, he's a little crazy, so we can just justify everything because of that. And that's really not the case, but it is the case for a lot of people where it's these, unfortunately, they get trapped in these situations because of mental illness and not being able to vouch for themselves or have people vouch for them or whatever that is. So having, someone like a Venus, my character, helping him out or is important, and having Venuses in the world is important.
Well, before we go, we do have a couple of questions. So let's start. Who has the mic? Back there?
Hi.
Hi.
So you talked about being able to collaborate a lot on your characters, and I was curious about like the process, and especially as the main female roles, about that kind of situation.
Just the process? Sort
What's
of
the question, girl?
Like, I'm curious about like the conversations that you had with Chris and
Yeah.
the writers and stuff like that.
Yeah, for me, it was really cool because this was the first time I actually got to sit down with a director for a long time. Like Chris and I sat down, we went to Soho House, sat down for like 3 hours talking about what this was to him and why he chose to do this, and showing us, clips of YouTube, stuff that he had discovered. And I was just in awe of like somebody who was willing to pull in an actor that way. So a lot of it just came from a lot of conversations. And then we did do the first week we shot in the Dominican Republic, and the first week we were there, it was just rehearsals, sitting with the script, which I also love, being that we're both theater girls.
It was a lot of rehearsal.
It was a lot of rehearsal, maybe a little too much, but it was cool to be able to dissect this script that was like, how did you describe it? Russian
Impenetrable.
novel?
Oh, Russian novel.
In that way, yeah.
Yeah, we did a lot of rehearsal, and I got to talk to Agent Emily, who's like my height, and worked at the FBI many years ago, and kind of got to talk to her about like what it is to have to try to fight harder. And I think that is part of the reason that Kendra gets herself into these morally dubious situations, because she's like, well, I have to go even harder at the targets to prove that I'm somebody to be taken seriously.
And it is very established that it is a boys club, very much so, with like the way they talk to each other, her reactions to the things they say.
Yeah.
So you can see her kind of like playing two different games, basically.
Yeah.
We do have a question from Twitter. Chris Morris's work is satirical. Are you at all worried that people will take the subject of the film the wrong way? What's the number one thing you hope people take away from the film after watching it? So let's ask that first one.
I would say that I was worried about people hearing the premise on paper and taking it the wrong way, and kind of feeling like, is this a laughing matter to you guys? And of course, I think there's like something really valuable about using comedy to talk about things that are really serious, because your brain kind of absorbs it differently, and it can kind of alter the way you think about things rather than just being shown the facts in a kind of dry way. And so I wasn't worried about people seeing the film and taking it the wrong way. I think I was only ever worried that people who like wanted to see something, because there are plenty of people who think that Chris Morris's work in the UK like went a little too far. So it isn't something I'm like super concerned with, like if people actually watch the movie.
I think especially too when they get to the end of the movie, any of those reservations they have, you
About
can
taking those
yeah,
too lightly.
you can sort of see the message that's trying to be conveyed, right?
Yeah.
You don't get kind of lost. You have any?
I think when it comes to what's the number one thing you hope people take away, I think it's just that reminder that this does happen. Right. As crazy as this story seems, this happens all the time. And just that reminder of like, oh, let's pay a little more attention. I think that's what I would hope people take away.
That's what I took away. So success. Next one.
So my question is that, what do you prefer the most, making a movie or making a series?
I love your outfit first, by the way. Your waist, honey. Jesus, I hope that comes back. What was the question? Oh, series or the movie? For me, I love it all. Just give me a good story. That's number one. What I do think, I think, to be honest, I think I do like television a little bit more, because I just feel like you get to make a family and hold on to them a little longer with the cast and the crew. But with movies, it just seems so fast and it's done. And I like being able to really form a family of, of connection of people that I collaborated with and will keep in my circle for a long time. That matters to me. But number one is the story, no matter what. And that's with theater too. I love theater.
I was gonna throw in theater in the mix. Like if you guys had to choose one medium to work in forever.
Well, I'm doing my first series now, so I'm like, it's all new and exciting to me. Although I did realize that you have to have a fitting for every episode, which I was like, oh.
Well, unless you're incarcerated, then you don't have to.
And that's a silver lining.
Oh, girl, it was very silver. I enjoyed that.
And one more.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Awesome to meet you. So, Anna, like for me, you've always like been like a James Dean character to me. Like you've been like so.
I
cool.
totally see that.
Yeah.
What?
No. Just like you're so cool. I feel like, but then like you can also. Yeah, but like you're
I
also.
am shocked but flattered.
Yeah, no, it's so cool, but like also so dynamic. Like you can play anything. And so I was wondering, like, if you could go back in time to any character in film or TV that you could like redo, like the Anna Kendrick way, like what character would you play?
Rosalind Russell is my like phone screensaver, and I'm obsessed with her. So like, if I could be in like a kind of 30s screwball comedy, like Bringing Up Baby or His Girl Friday or The Women, like those are my favorite films ever. So like, I would love to be in like a black and white kind of The Thin Man style thing. So it's a little pre James Dean and a little more heightened and self-aware as performance styles go. But yeah, I live for that stuff. But I'm just gonna be like riding high off of that James Dean vibe. Thank you.
Of course, you got it. Thank
Who
you.
do I remind you of? I'm joking.
Oh.
Don't answer that.
No, I was gonna
It's
say
cool.
Michelle Obama.
Oh, well,
I don't
that
know.
works. That works very well. Thank you. You redeemed yourself.
Proceed.
Well, James Dean, Danielle Brooks, it was my pleasure to chat with you today. I really did enjoy this film. Again, if people watch it and pay attention, it is so funny, but the message is so important as well. So congrats on the film. And you guys can check out The Day Shall Come in theaters and on VOD today. Put your hands together for Anna Kendrick and Danielle Brooks.